far in terms of this ban. Do you like this ban?
I do. President Trump is doing exactly what he promised he would do, keeping America safe, putting America first. And the liberal media is trying to make something out of this, as well as certainly Senator Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, trying to call it some kind of ban on Muslims, which it's not. It's just putting America first as we get the Department of Homeland Security and the others involved with making sure that we're vetting those coming into our country.
Right.
We know who they are. So it is putting America first and making America safe. It's not this ban on Muslims that they're trying to make it into.
Well, I hear you, but you're basically defending it with a slogan, saying it's America first. It is not about changing the procedures because you've changed nothing. You did the ban first. You guys tell us not to call it a ban. The president calls it a ban. And
it's a ban.
And in fact, yesterday you had surrogates on here saying, don't call it that. It's only a moratorium. It's just like Obama's policy in 2011, which you know is poppycock. It's nothing like the 2011 situation. And so you didn't change your vetting. You did a ban, and he called it a Muslim ban during the campaign. So how are we wrong to describe it that way?
Well, it's a 120-day pause on refugees coming in from any country, and certainly those 7 countries that for the next 90 days we're not going to let foreign nationals in from are the same 7 countries that last year with Obama as president were identified as those countries that had terrorism and active ISIS cells.
Obama identified them as places where you need to watch who traveled in and out of those places and make select judgments on those people, not just someone's nationality, which is what you're doing now. So again, what are we getting wrong?
It's a temporary moratorium. It's a temporary ban.
That's a ban. So it's temporary, full-time. It's still a ban. The president calls it a ban. What are we saying that's wrong? I haven't heard anything yet.
Because we want to know who's coming in the country, and he is going to err on the side of safety for Americans. He is going to get his arms around with his team the issues of vetting these individuals. And I've heard a lot of folks, Democrats included, that say a 90-day, 120-day pause. There's nothing wrong as he's putting his administration together. If the Democrats would approve his cabinet
Well, one issue at a time. We'll get to the appointees because I get that criticism, but one thing at a time. One, the Constitution doesn't distinguish in duration. So a ban of 1 day is the same as of 1,000 days. Putting a 120, a stoppage on refugees, they are the most vetted individuals that come into our country. So if you want to stop liabilities in our immigration system, theoretically you would stop everything else first other than the refugees because nobody is as vetted as well as they are. But you're not doing that. And you're only picking these 7 countries and not the ones 11 attackers came from, which doesn't make any sense to people if what your concern is protecting us from the threat. Because there are no statistics you can point to that show refugees as a threat in this country.
Well, no, the temporary ban is on all countries, not just these 7. It's 120
It's on refugees.
It's a 120-day ban on refugees from any country, not just those 7.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can't show me a threat assessment or a metric that proves that refugees are a threat to you and me where we live in this country.
President Trump and his cabinet, his security advisors, are going to get their arms around what's going to be best for America as he's just taking office. 120-day pause is not that outrageous as the Democrats are saying. He is getting his arms around it, and he is saying he's going to make sure they know what's going on. And I think America supports the 120-day pause.
I don't know that they support it. Certainly you see protests all over the country. You see federal courts acting out against it. You had an acting attorney general saying she couldn't defend it. But I think the larger question is the way they did it. Okay, whether or not it is legal will be decided by the courts, not by us here today. But why wouldn't you, common sense dictates, go to the agencies who are involved, figure out what they do now, figure out how to do it better, and then go do that? Why would you just stop everything as it is, put lives in peril, send an ugly message to the rest of the world when you're not even ready to do anything differently yet?
Well, primarily because President Trump is going to make sure, if he's going to err, it's on the side of keeping America safe. And so this temporary pause for 120 days, allowing the president and his team to understand what these other agencies are doing. Understand, in the past, we had catch and release, a porous border. We had refugees coming in that we don't believe were properly vetted. Obama folks can say otherwise. But we're going from the mindset of porous borders to truly clamping down on who's coming into this country.
I'm just saying, the numbers suggest
massive change.
The numbers suggest you're in pretty good shape right now when it comes to attacks on domestic soil and where they come from. Refugees have not been our major risk right now. You got a better chance of getting hit on the head by a dresser than you do of getting killed by a refugee. Let's talk about Steve Bannon. Are you comfortable with him having a seat on the NSC?
Yes, I am. I'm comfortable with the President of the United States putting anyone on any agency that he thinks will give him the advice he needs that may have a counter in debates as to what the proper action is to take. You don't need yes men. You need people who will stand up to the president and say, Mr. President, I disagree with this person or that person. That is someone like Steve Bannon, who's known the president a very long time, who will say to him at times, I don't agree with that, talk him into potentially changing his mind, as there's 6, 8, 10, 12 people debating an issue. So I support this president surrounding himself with those people whose advice he implicitly trusts and he knows will give him the straight talk.
Well, there's no question that Bannon has influence with the president. When you say that his opinion should be valued, on what basis? What is his pedigree to put him in the room with our intelligence and military leaders as a self-described Leninist who wants to destroy the state?
Well, I think it comes down to just the fundamental strengths of someone like a Steve Bannon, who can listen to differing opinions, can sometimes very succinctly bring those back into the proper points and not go, off on tangents. I just think he's a brilliant strategist who, is going to